covering news where you live. This is 5 News at noon.
The manhunt to find an escaped inmate Grant Hardin enters its second week. We'll have the latest on the search. President Trump says higher tariffs on steel and aluminum are set to take effect this week. What the administration says is behind the move and the potential impacts. Well, thank you guys for joining us for your 5 News at noon. I'm Rachel Williams. The suspect in a horrifying flame-throwing attack in Boulder, Colorado is due in court later today. Police say 8 people were injured in the assault, which the FBI is investigating as a possible terror attack.
There's a male with a blowtorch setting people on fire.
Fear and chaos captured on this cell phone video as a flame-throwing attack unfolded at a weekly Sunday gathering to support Israeli hostages in Gaza.
One person caught on fire from head to toe, and they were burning up. Their whole body was burning up.
Stay away. It happened on Boulder's Pearl Street Mall. People rushed to douse victims, aged 52 to 88, with water, while the suspect was seen just feet away, yelling anti-Israel comments. Police say 45-year-old Mohammed Solomon used a makeshift flamethrower and bottles filled with flammable liquid.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
Homeland Security said Solomon had overstayed his visa. It expired in 2023, and he was in the country illegally.
People are being targeted at Jewish events just by gathering and being Jewish.
Susan Rona of the Anti-Defamation League is concerned about a spike in anti-Semitic violence and says the problem starts with words.
Let's have awareness of the language that's being used and normalized around us that ends up with violence. And let's stop that.
Solomon is due in court later today on a range of charges. Jason Allen, CBS News, Boulder, Colorado.
We are also working to learn more about an overnight shooting at a Minneapolis park that killed 1 person and left 5 others injured. Minneapolis police say shots erupted during a gathering at Boom Island Park Sunday night. 6 people were hit in the gunfire. Of the 6, 1 woman was killed and 5 male victims were hurt. One of the victims is suffering from life-threatening injuries. Police believe a confrontation led to the shooting and that more than one shooter is responsible.
Well, we've got a beautiful day in store today. We've got mostly sunny skies. We've got warm temperatures into the 90s for some areas for your highs. And you can see we're kind of between 2 systems right now. So unfortunately, today is going to be the last great day without rain chances before we enter another active pattern. You can see we're kind of sandwiched between 2 stationary systems. Activity to the west, well, that's going to start making its way closer to us by tomorrow. Current temperatures across the region, 83 in Bentonville, a light south wind around 9 miles an hour. Notice there's a little bit of a feels-like temperature today, so it's a little bit warmer in some spots than the actual air temperature. As you can see, it's off by 1 or 2 degrees. We are humid, but we're not super humid, so you're not seeing a dramatic change, but 86 is the current temperature in Fort Smith. Elsewhere around the region, nice and warm. We're going to see that sunshine today, and then unfortunately, we've got an active pattern as we head into tomorrow. We've got rain, we've got more smoke. Get those weather bingo cards out because we've got more to talk about in just minutes.
All right, thanks, Joshua. Continuing coverage this afternoon of the manhunt for Grant Hardin. It's now been over a week since he escaped from the North Central Unit Prison in Calico Rock, Arkansas. Since then, search teams have been using every means necessary to find him. On May 25th, Hardin escaped using a makeshift police uniform and walked out of the prison. The reward for the information on his whereabouts has now reached up to $25,000.
I think that speaks to how much of a threat they view this and how dangerous. You know, we've said from day one, you know, you look at the charges that Mr. Hardin had and everything. This is an individual that they do not want out on the loose.
He says teams have been using as many resources as possible, including K-9s, drones, and ATVs. There have been multiple possible sightings of Hardin, including one in Sebastian County, but officials tell us their main focus is still in northern Arkansas. Grant Hardin has a lengthy background in law enforcement with experience as police chief, police officer in multiple towns and cities, and a constable for District 1. He also worked as a correctional officer at the Northwest Arkansas Community Center in Fayetteville from November 2016 until his arrest for murder in February 2017. The center was the all-female facility during the time Hardin worked there. With the manhunt now in its second week, you can follow any developments as the search continues to expand on our website, 5newsonline.com. We'll bring you any new developments as they come into our newsroom. One other search, there has been a shift in where Conway police are looking for these two brothers right there on your screen. 21-year-old Kedrick Johnson and 18-year-old K-Mary Johnson. They are wanted for their roles in the deadly shooting on the April 13th at a public park. 2 people died in the shootout, with 9 others hurt. The siblings are from Conway, but late last week, Pine Bluff police warned people to be out on the lookout. In Little Rock, police identified a suspect wanting for a shooting on Mother's Day. They're looking for this man, Marshawn Conway Morgan. He is accused of killing 39-year-old Lee Battles near the southern city limits off Baseline. Court records show he is already facing charges for being a felon with a weapon and allegedly leading police on a dangerous car chase in May of 2022. A man has been sentenced to 200 years in prison for a 2021 Fort Smith murder and the stabbing of 2 Sebastian County deputies. Those deputies are still recovering. John Cole had already been convicted of murder, facing 30 years in Arizona for killing a man there when he was connected to a separate murder in Fort Smith. He'll be transferred back to Arizona to carry out the rest of the murder sentence there. That is set to end in 2055 when Cole will be 79 years old. Then he'll be brought back to Arkansas to carry out his 200-year sentence. Arkansas State Police are confirming 2 deadly crashes that happened over the weekend in our area. A 3-car crash that happened Friday night around 11:15 in Logan County claimed 2 lives. State police say 20-year-old Mackenzie Arthur and a minor died in the crash on Highway 109 near the Morrison Bluff Bridge. The other crash happened Saturday afternoon in Benton County. State police say 56-year-old Juan Magdaleno crashed his motorcycle north of Pea Ridge off of Highway 265. No other vehicles were involved in the crash. Administration officials say President Trump could speak to the Chinese president as soon as this week to try to once again de-escalate trade tensions. It comes as the president has accused China of violating its agreement with the U.S. and ahead of plans to double the tariff on foreign steel and aluminum.
President Trump says the new 50% tariffs on steel and aluminum will take effect this Wednesday after making the announcement before a crowd of U.S. steel workers in Pittsburgh Friday night.
Nobody's going to be able to steal your industry.
The European Union is already threatening potential countermeasures, and economists worry about increased prices on everything from construction materials to canned foods. But the Trump administration argues it's about protecting jobs and national security.
We have to show strength. We have to have a steel industry that's ready for American defense.
The increased tariffs on key metals come as tensions have once again ratcheted up between China and the U.S., with both countries accusing each other of violating that preliminary trade agreement reached in May.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who helped negotiate the truce, said Beijing is withholding some of the products they agreed to export, including rare earth minerals.
We will see what the consequences are. I am confident that when President Trump and Party Chairman Xi have a call, that this will be ironed out.
Small business owners say they remain in limbo.
The uncertainty is the worst part of all of this.
Ralph Bradley imports lighting equipment from a manufacturing partner in China.
It's hard to plan long-term strategy when you don't know what the long-term cost is going to be on your business.
One administration official has indicated President Trump's call with Chinese President Xi Jinping could happen as soon as this week. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Today is the deadline to get your property assessed in Arkansas. State law requires all personal cars, boats, trailers, RVs, livestock, farm, and business equipment to be assessed by your county by May 31st of each year. But this year's deadline has been pushed to today due to the 31st falling on a weekend. If you miss the deadline, there's a 10% penalty.